2024 was the year of the modern audience. Every single major release pandering to a very small minority of people who apparently don't even really play video games, as all of these games totally flopped, even though we're being told we're the outsiders. We aren't the ones that carried this entire medium on our backs through its infancy, bankrolling the entire industry until it became pop culture. No, Chud. Don't you know video games are better when they're woke? Well, sales figures would tend to disagree. I pretty much refused to purchase anything that came out in 2024, excluding a few exceptions, but overall, for the most part, I took the not buying it pill. And I have to say, it feels great to do nothing and win anyways. And of course, it's not just me that won, it's you that won, because I would wager a bet that I'm not the only one that simply did nothing. I wasn't buying it, I'm sure you guys weren't buying it either. No, like many others, I decided to dive into my backlog, finally play those games I bought at a Steam sale for $5 and told myself one day I will play this. It turns out I was not in fact lying to myself. I actually did take a huge chunk of my backlog and get through it. Shocking, I know. And while everybody else pisses and moans about how they didn't get to play anything good this year, I smugly get to say I played a lot of good games this year. Now, most people probably don't have a Steam library that goes so deep it puts the kosher New York City tunnels to shame. So let me lend a helping hand to the chuds out there that just feel like they've got nothing to play. They don't know what to do with themselves. With some good recommendations, not made for the modern audience, no. Made for ye old audience. On screen now is nearly every single game I played in 2024 for the very first time. And while some of them were total dog shit that my chat had lied to me about and told me were good games, most of them were actually pretty good. Yakuza Kwami. Now, before I played this, I thought Sega was a 2-bit company producing games that underperform and underdeliver for as cheaply as they possibly could. But after playing it, now I know it's just all of the other games that they make totally suck ass. What really sold me on this game was how fun the side quests were. They were quirky and genuinely pretty funny. One minute you're getting a drunk who's collapsed on the sidewalk, another beer from the store, and then the next you're beating up a group of drunks who are bothering the prostitutes in town. And of course, if I'm gonna talk about side content, I would have to bring up all the Majima fights that are in the game. There's a character who's totally obsessed with the main character that you play as, Kiryu. You run into him pretty much everywhere. You fight him upwards to 100 times, and every time you encounter him, it's new, and it's unique, and it's funny. He will pop out of actual trash cans and challenge you to a duel, and then after you whoop his ass, he goes, "Ah, Kiryu-chan, you're so cool!" And then every time you beat him, you learn a new skill, which isn't really that big of a deal, because the combat in this game isn't revolutionary in any way. It's not particularly engaging, considering I beat the entire game without knowing how to block. You just put on brawl mode, and then you spam X as fast as you can, and you'll pretty much win every single fight you get into. And you'll be getting into a lot of fights, a lot of random fights, while you maneuver from one end of the city to the other end of the city, playing all the mini-games that they have. This game is jammed-packed full of little mini-games that you can play. There's a batting cage mini-game, you can play darts, you can play pool. There's something called shogi, which is basically Japanese chess. I sat here for like 2 hours trying to beat the easy difficulty enemy, and I just could not learn how to play this fucking Japanese chess game. What the fuck? You have the iconic karaoke minigame where he goes, and that's just a fraction of all the minigames. I'm not going to really talk about the main story. It's not really a highlight of the game. But what I will say, as soon as I finished Yakuza Kwami, I went to the Steam store and bought the entire Yakuza bundle. The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. A long name for a very long game. I'm about 15 hours in and I'm still in Act 1. Persona fans, get fucked. I always see them ranting and raving online how Persona's the best JRPG ever made. It's the greatest. No, bitch. I just got 9 XP from a boss fight. What you know about that? This one's definitely not for everybody, but if you're a fan of JRPGs, this is a must-play. Now, this is a slow game, and the main character is a woman, so it's already got 10 Wokies. But do not worry, chuds, the secondary main character is a man, and he is both stronger and smarter than the female main character. Maybe we can take that down to a 5. The combat is tactical turn-based, it's pretty good. What I really like about it is each character has their own turn, that is dependent on their speed stats, so you can have a character that's so fast that they attack multiple times in a row. All the characters have ultimate abilities, which you can use whenever you want. You don't have to wait for it to be their turn. And there's a vast amount of customization that you can do for the character's equipment and what spells and whatnot that they know how to use. But probably the best game design decision that was made for this game, that would go on to inspire 20 years of shitty isekai anime, is the taverns, inns, and guild that is in the game. Now, I don't know about you, but every RPG I've ever played, the taverns and inns basically serve no purpose other than to be a trading post, and guilds are relegated to being, like, side content. But in every isekai anime, the very first thing that the little group of adventurers does is go to the inn or go to the tavern, right? Anytime that they show up in a new town, those are the key places that you will always see them going to. And when I play RPGs, especially modern ones, I pretty much never go to those places. They're just not important areas to go to. But in this game, they are. Trials in the Sky accomplishes this, not by adding survival mechanics where your character has to eat, sleep, and drink to be able to deal full damage or whatnot, or not to die. All they did was make potions crazy expensive, and they made it significantly cheaper to cook food to heal your team. And the way you learn recipes is by going to the taverns and eating the food there. And then the cheapest way, or the most optimal way, to heal your team up is going to an inn. It is nearly 10 times cheaper to just go to the inn than to use a potion. Potions will pretty much only be used when you absolutely have to during battle. Otherwise, you'll be cooking food after a fight to heal up if you have to, or you'll be running to the inn the moment you get to a new town. And the paths between towns are pretty long, which means you'll want to bring ingredients with you, and you'll want to hold on to them and only use them if you have to. And I'm not typically one to praise the immersive aspect of a game because I really don't immerse myself in a game, but this is definitely going above and beyond. It's a very clever way of implementing this, giving these locations purpose, and it's just something I haven't really seen any other game pull off well, or even attempt to pull off. Now, Zoomers, this game came out in 2004, so the graphics aren't up to snuff, and you probably have seen most of these tropes in your isekai animes, but I'm telling you, I'm pretty sure that this is the game that they're all ripping off of. But if there's any Zoomers out there whose attention span hasn't been executed ruthlessly by TikTok, and if you're able to stick with it and pay attention, not get burnt out on the slow roll, I know that can be hard, I think that you will find that this game is pretty entertaining and provides a decent enough challenge. I'm playing it on normal. I would imagine, though, that if I had cranked up the difficulty, I would be in for quite a lot of pain. I mean, I'm over-leveled for this area that's on screen now, and the only reason I'm able to win these fights is because I bought all of my characters a talisman to resist poison, because all these enemies have poison on their daggers, of course, and I gave all of these characters the ability to heal each other. So if I put it on hard mode, I probably would still be hard-locked in the prologue 15 hours into the game. Now, the story, I'm not going to get too detailed with it, don't want to spoil it for you, but basically, you're looking for your dad. A terrorist group hijacks a plane, very bold of them to do 3 years after 9/11. But basically, your dad was on that plane, you gotta go look for him. And that's about the gist of it so far. Maybe once I escape this part of the map, it'll get a little bit more detailed, or the plot will change a little bit, but I don't know yet. But for $5, I got way more than I paid for it. Hopefully I can beat this before my future children put me in a nursing home, but we will see. Those are really the two I feel like deserve to be highlighted. I'll give a shout out to LA Noire, Hotline Miami 2, Metal Gear Rising. They were good games, but they're kind of more well known, and I don't really feel like I need to tell you about them. But really, the point of this video was you don't need to play the latest and greatest game that came out, especially with what is being produced right now. It is total garbage. You have upwards of 30 years you can go back now and get games for free, for $1, for $5, that have 20 plus hours of gameplay, and you're going to enjoy them a lot more than anything that comes out nowadays. So rather than hopping on the new Call of Duty because all of your friends got it, alright? You don't need to play Pal World. The game sucks, okay? It's not fun. You'd probably have more fun playing Minecraft with the Pokemon mod. They say you vote with your dollars, and by buying these, you're saying you want more. You want more of this slop. Don't buy the slop. Don't consume The Goi Chow. Play older games for cheap. I guarantee you probably have a ton of games on Steam that you haven't even touched. They're just sitting there collecting dust. Play those. And then when a good game comes out, pick it up. Otherwise, just leave it to the content creators. Let them be the ones to suffer through the slop. That's what they're getting paid to do, after all. You can watch them play Dragon Age Valgard, and you don't have to play it yourself. You don't need to give the company money just to make fun of this shitty game. Hopefully 2025 is going to be better for video games. Probably won't. Hopefully it will collapse in on itself, and most of these companies will go out of business. It's deserved. Don't feel bad for them. They don't deserve your sympathy, okay? They don't deserve it.